It's what you want it to be. No one else gets to decide what you are. My father taught that to me.
Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our channel, Paws On Animation, and our Paws On YouTube segment.
In today's extra special podcast, we're covering the movie Ne Zha. Yes, we're serious. We're covering it.
Now, after seeing that Ne Zha 2 has become the new highest grossing animated film of all time, surpassing Disney,
yes,
everyone has been asking, what the heck is the movie even about? We were told to just go watch the first film on YouTube to find out, and we had a blast. But
before we start, be sure to like, subscribe, and notifications for future podcasts and pause videos.
And thank you for joining us, subscribing to our channel, and so much more. As always, we appreciate everything you do.
Yes.
So we have to tell you, the reason we watch 1 is because of 2. So very quickly, Ne Zha 2,
yes,
as we mentioned, has become the highest grossing animated movie of all time. At this time, it has a budget of $22 million, and it has reached over $1 billion. Now, the information I'm looking at says $742 million, which, oh, I'm sorry, I'm the wrong one.
The first movie.
Yes, the first movie did really well. With the second movie itself, released in January of this year on the 29th, it's 144 minutes. It's originally in Mandarin, had a budget of $80 million and has grossed to date almost $2 billion. Is at $1.99 billion.
Yes. It's like, oh my gosh.
So this got us to watch the first one since it's free. And as I mentioned, I was unfortunately giving you the wrong numbers. The first movie had a budget of $22 million, 110 running minutes, grossed over $742 million at the box office. It grossed almost $1 billion.
Already, yeah. And then the second one just blew it up.
And the first movie was originally released in July of 2019 in Beijing, and on the 13th of July on IMAX, and then the 26th of July in China.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been available on YouTube since 2019, believe it or not.
Yes.
So we were able to see this fantastic movie not knowing what it was and that it
right.
was available, but now I'm telling you that it's blowing up.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that you had mentioned this before, is that the benefit was that people didn't really know much about it in terms of it wasn't talked about. Maybe there were some people that actually knew about the first film and knew about the second film coming out, but didn't really speak up about it because it was one of those movies that certain people watch. Mm-hmm. But after, having Monkey Kid and some other shows bringing in this type of lore to the screen and being successful, now with this movie coming out of almost nowhere, people who have watched it, where they watched the first one, are not saying just go watch it. They've done like when the Promised Neverland anime was out, you didn't know what it was about because people didn't tell you. You couldn't find out online. It said you need to watch it because the first episode's plot is a spoiler for the rest of the series. So for this movie, was the same thing. Just go watch the first one on YouTube and find out.
So we're going to tell you what it's based on, what we loved about it, and then we're going to leave it to you to go watch it and then come back and tell us what you think.
Yes.
Because telling you too much would absolutely ruin the experience.
Right.
So I'm going to read this because, again, we weren't familiar with it, and I want to give you accurate information.
Right.
So, Ne Zha, spelled Nezha, is an animated fantasy adventure directed and written by Jiàngshì. Mm-hmm. Its animation production is done by the director's own Shengdu Coco cartoon featuring the popular Chinese mythological character Nezha. Mm-hmm. Now, the plot's loosely based on the 16th century novel Investiture of the Gods by Xu Shongling. Mm-hmm. And in the film, a young boy, Sha, is born from a heavenly pearl by the primeval lord of heaven, Jiàngshì Qinshun. And he has unique powers and finds himself as an outcast. Mm-hmm. And you got to see the rest because we're not going to tell you more. But the story itself is great.
Yes.
And one thing we think really works for this particular movie is just like Monkey Kid in the beginning, seasons 1 through 3, it's a collaboration between Western and Eastern concepts.
Yes. And when we say that, yes, we have seen some like Chinese shows, both C-dramas and anime and things made there.
Yes.
And they seem to have, like a lot of other people, a certain tone they like, the types of things they like to discuss, have their themes, their origin stuff, and a lot of them usually end up having the same theme of being in the heavenly realm and having talks among the courts and talking about their place above humans and kind of the same thing over and over. Now, they have elements of that in here, but the twist is that they sort of did, ironically, a little bit like Disney. They put a twist on a story people knew and made it to where everyone could watch it, to the point where it felt like you were watching something in the same vein as Kung Fu Panda.
Yes, and some characters you can tell are representatives of Kung Fu Panda, and some of the voice actors even sound like the voice actors from Kung Fu Panda.
Yes.
And it was smart because you felt at home listening to the voice actors.
Yes.
One thing I really liked is when we've watched other anime like Heaven's Official Blessing and I think it's Chi Shang that's on Netflix that we didn't stay with, and a couple others, they take place in the heavenly realm.
A majority
most of the movie.
Yeah.
This one does it, and is really smart because you want to be involved in the action that's going on in the real world.
Right.
And this is what they did, and it was a brilliant move and a smart move because you stay engaged throughout the entire movie.
Right.
Another thing they did is the music was all done by one company. It's by Wan Pinchu.
Wow.
So that's why the music sounded really great throughout.
Yes.
It sounded like it all fit together.
Yeah, you're right. It flowed very well. And they had their own beats to it when it got to the comedy or the action or something sad or something dramatic. They all had their own tone, and it was so fast paced it all just synced in together.
And in the American release, it was released in IMAX theaters. When you're watching the animation, it is fantastic. It is bright. It is colorful. It is fluid. It is flawless.
Yes.
And we were just like, whoa.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
It was something completely different.
And I was selected as the Chinese entry for the Best International Feature Film at the 92nd Academy Awards, becoming the first animated film from China to ever do so.
Wow.
Of course, it was not nominated, but hopefully Nezha 2 will be.
Yes.
Because from what we understand, everything has been stepped up. And if this one's this fantastic, I can't wait to see the second one, because that means it's got to be like a whole universal difference.
Yes.
And that means it's got to be just...
Right.
Woo.
Yes.
I can't imagine. This movie, we're not exaggerating. You should watch it.
Yes.
Set aside any of your preconceived notions and just give it a try like we did. Within the first couple minutes, we were hooked. We didn't turn it off. And normally if something isn't good within a few minutes, we'll say, okay, we'll stick with it for maybe 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, to give enough time.
Right, the length of the movie. And then if it's not good, we'll turn it off. That wasn't even going to happen. It wasn't even a possibility. The best thing that surprised us is hearing it dubbed. We didn't know it was going to be dubbed. We thought we were going to have to read it because the majority of Chinese animated series, as well as the live action like Meteor Garden, they're not dubbed. You have to read them.
Right.
When we heard the English, we were just screaming in happiness, and it's just fantastic. And Rascal pointed out how well that the dubbing was done.
Yes.
As well.
And you know it's in a different language anyway, but they had the dialogue sync up with the lip sync so well. There were a few places you could tell it was different, but it wasn't like it was in a booth or in a hole or somewhere where it was half done. They just wanted to get it done. It was performed just as well as any other animated film, and it didn't even feel like you were watching something that was dubbed. You would have thought this was the original language to begin with.
Absolutely. So let's go over the voice cast quickly, and then we want to point out a few more things to you that aren't spoilers. We're going to give credit to the Mandarin Chinese cast first, and then tell you about the English dubbers that you're going to be really excited about. And I'll do my best to pronounce the names correctly. We have Liu Yangting as Nezha. We have Joseph Cao as the young Nezha. Han Mo as Ao Bing. Shen Hao as Li Jing. Lu Qi as Lady Yan. Shang Jiaming as Tai Zinren, and Yang Wei as Shin Gongba. Now for the English in those roles, we have Jordan Cole as Nezha, Griffin Paltu as the young Nezha. Alex Lee!
Yes!
As Yao Bing!
Oh my gosh!
I think that's Alex Lee. And sure enough, I was so excited.
Yes.
We have Vincent Rodriguez as the third, as Li Jing, Stephanie Sheh as Lady Yin, Mike Pollock as Tai Yi Jinren, and tell them where they should know him from.
If you are in the Sonic fandom, he was one of the voices of Eggman before getting recasted.
And Jaden Waldman as Shin Dongbao. So we're sure that the Chinese voice cast did just as excellent a job. The American voice cast was fantastic. And we were seeing Alex Lee, or hearing I should say Alex Lee and Stephanie Sheh show up in a plethora of animes and movies now, and it's fantastic. Alex Lee is like, he has gone to be one of my top 10 favorites.
Yes.
He is just fantastic. Stephanie Sheh, of course, is Orihime. You know I love her. And every role she does is different from Orihime. So Orihime is special because she's got that special voice.
Yes.
But we're telling you, if you have not watched this movie, you need to invest the time, go to YouTube for free, no ads, and watch this movie. It's just fantastic.
Yes.
We can't say enough great things about it. You love action, adventure, great animation, good storytelling, likable characters. You like the challenges between the main character and his struggle.
Yes.
The challenges as well. You like pretty guys. You like pretty women.
Okay.
You like villains. You like villains that are attractive and some that aren't attractive.
You get your
you
mix.
like animals. You like a large
comedy. Yes.
You like a cast of supporting characters or extras, as Bakugo says.
Right.
All of it's here. This is just a fantastic movie. Do yourself a favor. Go watch it. Because we are now just waiting to see the second movie.
Yes.
We can't wait to see it. And as we mentioned, it is the sequel. And the creative team behind the first film we're covering is the same one covering this movie.
Yes. And one thing I gotta add after you add this next thing is that when you're watching it, you know, like I said, everyone's got their own thing to do when it comes to making Chinese animation. Completely okay. But with this, they really hit the mark on every single genre and element you're looking for to balance in a movie or a show. And even better is the unexpectedly, the comedy hits so well.
Yes.
It's unbelievable how hilarious it could be. Yes, it's got the fantasy and the action and the drama and the darkness, but when it gets funny, you're laughing so hard you couldn't believe how spot on the comedy is, especially when they start doing some Western references in here, and Mom kind of like, they're really doing this, they're really showing that, they did this reference, they're doing this music reference. It was hilarious.
It's fantastic. So lastly, the creative team behind the film has announced that Nezhā will be the first installment in the fictional universe based on the stories told by Fengshen Yangi.
No way.
Yes, so they're doing their own
Universe.
Do yourself a favor. Go watch this movie. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Don't listen to naysayers. Don't listen to bad people judging based on things that have nothing to do with enjoying and loving animation and good writing. All the things you've been wanting, and I gotta say it, guys, all the things we've been missing from Disney and some of our other Western studios.
Yes.
They have been smart enough to pick up on it. They have learned. They've learned from Kung Fu Panda. They've learned from many other studios and franchises we won't name because you'll know when you watch it. They've learned, they've adapted, and they've perfected. And Nezhā is one of the best movies you are going to watch this year. Even though it's a 2019 film release, it's going to be one of the best ones that you watch this year.
Yes, absolutely. We will provide a link to the movie in the description so you can go directly to the film after you're done.
Absolutely, and you're welcome way ahead of time. So if you've seen Nezhā, if you are in the West or in China, let us know in the comments. If you haven't seen it, again, you've got to. We love this movie. It's going to be, again, at the top of our top 10 list of the best movies we've seen this year. It doesn't matter. It's not a new release. there's a new release for the sequel. And do yourself a favor, watch it now, because you're going to want to see Nezhā 2 without a doubt.
Yes.
And can't wait till it's made available.
And if you haven't already, subscribe for updates and weekly reviews for your anime series, anime shows, and all things animation.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us today, sharing our videos, commenting, recommending things. We love you guys. As always,
You are special. Thank you so much for watching. Mask Entertainment.
And I'm Mom Entertainment.
Have a toontastic day.
Peace and shay shay.
Faye comes at you swinging, then you hit back.